2024 was yet another scintillating year for GPVWC Superlights, and heading into 2025 it looks like the story will remain the same. The second rung on the GPVWC career ladder offers some of the most incredible action you will find anywhere in the world of sim racing, with fantastic drivers battling it out not just for glory, but to prove themselves worthy of propelling themselves up to the very top and into Super League. Last year we saw more than our fair share of drama as Frenchman Alex Lahoe proved all of his doubters wrong and romped his way to the title, but we find ourselves in pastures new this season as many of the Superlights old guard find themselves moving up to Super League this year. With a wonderful combination of fresh and experienced faces on the grid, it's anyone's guess who will be hot and who will be not heading into 2025. So why don't we familiarise ourselves with the grid before we get things rolling? True North Motorsports. Carter McColeman's Canadian squad was 4th last season after a trio of victories from David Feidock at Imola, Austria and the United States. It's all change in the driver lineup for 2025, however, as race winner Jan Dragoon is joined by newcomer Norbert Jakob. Czech driver Dragoon had his strongest showing yet in 2024 with Drag Racing, scoring 4 second places before finally taking a breakthrough win in Superlights with a blistering performance in the wet at Interlagos. Now moving over to True North, expect his strong form to continue. Hungary's Jakob joins the GPV ladder for the first time this season, but it's endurance racing where he's made a name for himself with regular pole positions and victories for the Go Team Racing Hypercar squad in the Virtual Endurance Championship. Drag Racing. Returning for their 6th season in Superlights, Ben Willis's Welsh outfit was 5th last year, just 7 points behind True North. Dutchman Tom van der Voort, definitely not Vincent, stays on with the team for a 4th season and is joined by 2015 Super League champion Philip Pushka. Pushka endured a brutal Super League season last year with Zortax Racing, retiring 9 times and scoring just 3 points at one race in Japan. The German has decided to go down to the 2nd tier this season and hopes to finally recapture his winning form with Drake. Van der Voort enjoyed his strongest campaign in GPVWC yet in Superlights last year, ending 2024 16th in the standings with 6 points finishes, including a first ever podium after surviving the melee at the first corner in Imola. More consistency is needed from the Dutchman though if he wants to break into the top 10. TTF Racing. Tyrone Frith brings the London-based TTF squad back for a 7th season in Superlights. Last season they equalled their best finish of 7th in the team's table. Podium finisher Jan Sikora sticks with the team for a 2nd full season and is joined by Poland's Maciej Piszkan. Sikora was 8th in the driver's standings last season after 9 top 10 finishes, including a first ever podium in the Brazil finale. Consistently a threat for the higher points placing positions, expect the Czech driver to break into the top 3 multiple times in 2025. Piszkan scored points 8 times on his way to 17th in the driver's standings in 2024. There were some strong performances, but bad luck limited his final score. Now switching to TTF, could the Pole have a breakthrough sophomore season in Superlights? Fusion Racing. Jack Sharman's Fusion Racing embark on their 4th Superlights campaign this season. Last year, they narrowly beat the Chaos team to a best ever 8th place finish in the Constructors table, and they are retaining their consistent point scoring lineup of Canada's Maxime Bulio and the Netherlands' Remco de Jeu. Bulio was in the points in all but one round last season on his way to 12th in the championship, but struggled to break into the top 10 until the final 2 rounds of the season, ending on a best result of 6th in Brazil. He'll be hoping to build up on a promising rookie campaign this year. De Jeu embarks on a 3rd campaign with Fusion in 2024. Last season was his best year yet, the high peaks being his 5th in Imola and a very strong performance in Singapore. Very experienced and very consistent, the Dutchman could surprise people once again this season. Alpha Sierra Sim Racing. The 2023 FS2 champions Alfa Sierra endured a tricky Superlights debut last year as they squeezed their way into 10th place in the Constructors, just 8 points ahead of the Gallery 82 team. Their driver lineup remains the same, as promising Ukrainian driver Dominik Koroshavin is once more partnered by Chris Gitsov. Gallery 82 Motorsports. 2024 was a difficult season for Niels Tiemann's Dutch team as they slipped down to 11th in the standings. Alexander Ragota stays in the gallery for a third season, however, and is joined once again by fellow Pole Michel Galka. Ragota started the season strong in 2024 with a top 6 in Melbourne, but he would only finish in the top 10 2 more times, as 7 retirements led him to finish 18th in the standings. After a tough season, he needs to regain his consistency and rebuild his momentum for 2025. Galka had an up and down first full season in Superlights last year. He sneaked into the points on 7 different occasions but had some difficult rounds and was disqualified in Spa after doing the entire final lap without his front wing. He'll be hoping to break into the top 10 this season. PZZW Racing Team. Alexander Ragota's Polish outfit propped up the rear of the points table in 2024 after 2 difficult seasons in Superlights. Rolling the dice in a bit to turn things around, they've gone for relative newcomers in David Krupa and Matthias Canapino for their drivers in 2025. 6th in the 2019 FS2 points table, Polish driver Krupa drove for the team in the wet finale in Brazil, but retired early on. With him otherwise off the grid since 2020, he has a lot of catching up to do this year. Argentinian Canapino returns to Superlights for the first time since subbing in for Neptune Simracing in 2021. He also made an appearance in Formula Sprint 1 for Kings Racing at Imola last year, but unfortunately he had less than a clean run. Now with a full season shot with PZZW, can Canapino add to his single points finish in Superlights? Netrex GP. Moving up to Superlights this season is the Italian Netrex GP team, who missed out on the FS1 team's title last season by just 21 points. Veteran Harry Smith moves up with the team to Superlights and is joined by newcomer Jose Soriano. Smith had a strong season in 2024, taking 5 podium places and was in the points in all but 2 races on his way to 6th in the championship. With the team's title slipping through his fingers, expect the Englishman to be fired up in the second tier and a regular fixture in the points once more. Soriano makes his debut in the GPVWC career ladder with Netrex this season. Bringing endurance racing experience with him from Assetto Corsa, the Spaniard could make a strong first impression in Superlights this season. Alpha Delta Racing. 6th in Formula Sprint 1 in 2024, the Canadian Alpha Delta squad progresses up to Superlights after 3 seasons in the 3rd tier. Both drivers are retained in 2025, with Italian duo Federico Russo and Mirko Lucchini teaming up once more. Russo scored 20 points finishes last season on his way to a best ever 10th place in the FS1 drivers standings. The high point was a 4th place in Canada, and with 2 seasons of Super League under his belt, he's about as prepared for Superlights as he can be. Lucchini was 9th in the 2024 standings, just ahead of his teammate Russo after scoring points 22 times across the year. His best result last season was also 4th in Canada, this time in the reverse grid race. Inseparable from his teammate Russo, will he get the upper hand on him again this time? Kings Racing. Scott Mitchell-Marm's yellow and blue Kings Racing team were 10th last season in FS1, but their season never really got going until Loic Mounier arrived and banked 2 victories in Monza and at the Circuit of the Americas. Mitchell-Marm returns to driving duties once again this year and is joined by FS2 champion and his brother, Luke Mitchell. Scott was only able to attend 12 races in 2024, scoring points in half of them. With the Kings team rapidly progressing up the career ladder, he has shown the pace needed to get decent results under his belt, but availability remains a big question mark for him. His sibling Luke has had better attendance and results over the last few years, following up his 2023 FS2 crown with a solid campaign for Lunark in FS1, where he scored points 17 times on his way to 16th in the championship. While he did have some bad luck, he was rarely ever off the pace and did take a fantastic podium in Austria. He also subbed in Superlights last season, taking a career best 7th for Valley Esports in Canada. Lunark. 9th in the FS1 Championship, 2 seasons in a row the Lunark team is promoted to Superlights for their 3rd GPV campaign. Reigning FS1 champion Mike Quint joins the English squad and is partnered by returnee Daniel Herlock. Dutchman Quint had a brilliant run to the FS1 title last year with Multiforce GP, taking 18 podiums, including 4 wins in Australia, Canada, Spain, and Germany. Now returning to Superlights for the first time since his inconsistent 2020 campaign with TCS Off Racing, he's a much more complete driver this time around. Herlock returns to GPV for the first time since 2020. A race winner in FS2, he has just 2 Superlights round under his belt with a best finish of 12th, and will be looking to quickly get back up to speed with Lunark this year. Team Rookie Monsters. 12th in last year's FS1 Championship after 5 seasons away. R-Factor 2 endurance mainstays Rookie Monsters had a difficult first half of the season, but started to get things together towards the end. They move up to Superlights with the same lineup of 2024, with German Robin Merling and Scotsman Daniel Scott behind the wheel. Merling achieved 17 points finishes in his rookie season, including a podium in the feature race at Spa, launching him up to 15th in the Drivers' Championship. Some bad luck creeped in with 6 retirements, but overall Merling was a major asset to the Rookie Monsters team. With a cameo drive for Rotor Formula in the Superlights finale in Brazil last year, yielding 14th place, expect more points to follow in 2025. Scott endured a troubled start to last season, retiring 10 times from the first 11 events before going on a run of points finishes in Monza, Singapore and Brazil, where he scored his first top 10 finish in GPVWC. With some bold racecraft shown throughout the season, Scott hopes to bring his learnings with him into Superlights. KV86 Powerhouse. The reigning FS2 Teams champions leap up to Superlights for this season, as Christian Vazdar's Croatian team retains its successful 2024 driver lineup of Patrick Magnusson and Noah Tuomela. Magnusson was runner-up to eventual FS2 champion Matthews Micah last year, taking 7 wins and 6 other podiums. The Icelandic driver also had some strong showings subbing in for HGP in FS1, narrowly missing out on a podium in Hockenheim and Spa. Superlights will be Magnusson's toughest challenge yet, but it's one he is relishing. Finland's Tuomela took 4 podiums in 2024, including a win at Suzuka. However, he got disqualified in Monza after this manoeuvre on Magnus Ockenhaug, and then took the rest of the season off. Very rapid, Tuomela will be hoping to put last season behind him as he debuts in Superlights. Optimal Esports. Second in the FS2 Teams Championship last season after missing out to KV86, Optimal follows their rivals up the ladder this season, and team owner Remco de Joux has hired Super League racer Ruven Machedi and Superlights podium finisher Joseph Herlock to lead their charge in 2025. German Machedi had a sporadic campaign in GPVWC last year, as his Super League season with Green Stripes was cut short due to technical issues. He did, however, have some starring drives for Fusion in Superlights, scoring 4th places at both Silverstone and in the United States. He competed for Optimal in the FSR World Championship with a best result of 9th in Imola last year. With big potential at a team he is extremely familiar with, expect him to be strong this season. Englishman Joe Herlock had his best Superlight season to date with Valley Esports last year, taking 2 podiums and 8 other points finishes on his way to 7th in the Drivers' Championship. If he can shake off some of his bad luck, he could find himself on the podium, perhaps even on the top step, a lot more often. Brem GP. The final team on the entry list is the all-new Brem GP outfit. Team owner Cas Rietveld leads the driving lineup and is joined by the experienced Tom Satherley. Former FSR president and 2019 Academy champion Cas Rietveld returns to Superlights after a couple of seasons away. The Dutchman has retired 12 times from 15 starts here in the past, something he'll be looking to rectify this time around as he hopes to push Brem to glory in its debut season. Satherley drove in FS1 with MS Performance last season and suffered a horrendous run of misfortune with 7 retirements, as anything that could go wrong for him did go wrong. The Kiwi's pace still shone through though, and he took a podium at Silverstone along with victory at Monza. There we are then, Superlights in 2025. The drivers, the teams, everyone ready and raring to go as we wait for the lights to go out in Australia to get our season underway. You can join myself, Ross McIntyre, with Carlos Martin alongside me, bringing you all of the action on Tuesday nights from the best series on the GPVWC Career Ladder.